So let me just, it's a little bit better. Okay. So I think we'll have these colors on the side, but we'll start as always with the sky with blue and white. And then as we need more colors, we'll start adding more colors. And let me, so we'll be painting Moraine Lake. I'm sure you're familiar with the area. Actually, let me just move this. So we're going to be painting horizontally. So we'll start with the sky and the lake as the background, and then over. Let's do a horizontal painting. Actually, I need to move this.
Could you show it again, please? Just
yeah.
I want to take a picture of the picture.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So we will start with the sky. So we're gonna use blue. So I'm just gonna put my blue on my palette, and I'll show you once I'm mixing. So any kind of blue works. If your blue is a little bit lighter, then you don't need too much white. And so let's have blue and white, and we'll start the mixing. So I start with a medium blue, and then as I go down, I'm gonna add more white. So this is my blue. It's quite dark. So I'm just slowly adding white. And I see white spots, but I just need to hold my piece. I can paint over that later. So I make a first line, and then I add more white to the color I already have. And then I paint the second space here. And I keep going, add white to the color I already have. left to right. Go too far down because we'll paint mountains over this, but maybe a third or half.
Ito puno. Tonga kada puno wa.
I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. So very subtle change, not spending too much time. And now we're gonna keep using blue to paint the lake, but it's a different tone of blue, a different shade. So if you have a bright neon blue, you can use that. Most of us don't have it. So we'll just add a little bit of yellow to the blue. So I'm gonna show you here in just 1 second. The idea is that the blue looks a little bit more greenish or turquoise. So again, if you have a color like this, turquoise, you can add that to the blue. But if you don't have it, we'll just change the tone of the blue by mixing a little bit more, with more yellow. So make sure for this you have enough to cover the area of the lake. So I have my blue here, the one I was using for the sky. And I am going to add a little bit of yellow, just a tiny bit. You see it's just a drop. So just a drop, start mixing it. It changes. Now I am ready to add another drop of yellow. Now I'm going into my third drop. and I added quite a bit. So about 5 drops or 6 drops. And now I get a greenish blue. And I'm gonna start by kind of drawing where the lake is, the edge, and then I'll fill it in. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna go over with our, so if we need to change anything, we can certainly do that. So you notice the difference of the blues? I just added yellow. I'm gonna fill it in. I might be going just a little bit fast, but I don't want my blue to dry. But if you need more time, take your time. And now I have this turquoise blue. I'll add white. And I'm gonna do the same as I did with the sky, but this time dark is at the top. And as I go down, I add white. Okay, and once you're done with those 2 blues, we're gonna wipe the excess off of our brush and clean it in the water. Make sure you wipe before you put it in the water. That way your water remains cleaner for longer. you're ready for the next step, you can get the red on your palette. We'll be using it for the next color. Make sure you have all three primary colors, which are yellow, blue, and red. I'll be adding red into my palette. I'll give you 30 more seconds to finish your lake. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna paint or try to paint a few reflections from the mountains. So don't worry too much about it. And for our next color, we're gonna paint the color of the mountains, the darkest color, which looks like a dark purplish blue color, kind of brownish purple. So to mix that brownish color, we will use I know we've mixed brown before. It's not the easiest color to paint because you need all three colors. So we're gonna need blue, red, and yellow. I like to start with the red and the yellow. So I'm gonna mix it over here. So I'm gonna put yellow and red. Yellow and red, and I mix it. That gives me orange. And once I get orange, I add a little bit of blue. Remember, when you're mixing a color, just put it on the side like this and slowly mix, because sometimes we grab too much. Don't want to change your color too much. And slowly add into it. So I want a more purplish. So I got this color, which is like a brown. And now I'm gonna add more red.
Oh, situ ya.
So again, I'm gonna repeat what we're doing. We're mixing a dark brown / purple. So I am mixing yellow and red first to give me an orange. Then I add blue. That gives me brown. And now I'm adding red and blue as I see fit. So this is the kind of color I want. if you see your color is too red, then you add the other two colors, which are yellow and blue. If you see your color is too bluish, then you add the other two colors, which are yellow and red. And if your color is too yellow, that's because it needs more blue and red. So I'm gonna start painting so you can really see the color, but take your time mixing the color, make sure you're happy with it. So I'm gonna first make a little indication of where my mountains, the tip of my mountains are. There's quite a few here. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 6. I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush in just 1 second. Darker. Anytime you mix brown, it's easier if you mix enough paint, because if you have to mix again, it's hard to get back to the exact same color. It's not impossible, but you just gotta really spend time mixing again. I'm gonna leave this space right here because that's where our trees, the mountain with the trees are. I don't need to paint there. And we'll just fill it in for now. Your mountain peaks don't have to be perfect. They never are, really. So you can create more irregular shapes. There's a big one over here. One thing I want you to draw is, this is a one big piece that comes further down into the lake. Then the lake goes back behind it like that.
Danke.
So we're gonna paint our background colors and then go over it with the detail. And our next color is going to be an orangey brown, sandy brown. So I mean sandy orange. Just to paint this border right here. And then this section will be green. If you have green, you can use it. If you have this kind of green, if you don't, you'll mix it with yellow and blue. Once you're done with the brown, you can wipe the excess off. You don't need to put it in the water. We're gonna mix an orange. So it's very close. So we're gonna paint let's do the orangey color. So we're gonna get yellow and red. Gives me orange. So I'm gonna draw this section here. This is the edge where the water meets the land. I'm gonna put a little bit of white so it's not so transparent to my orange. Yellow and again, yellow and red make orange. I added a little bit of white so it's not too transparent on my page. And I can cover the colors that are underneath. So that's my orange. If you need to make more or put more layers after this one dry, you can do so.
Exactly. Orange.
And next color, we're gonna do the green. So these are our background colors. They don't need too much detail, so don't spend too much time on it. So again, if you have the green already mixed, you can use that one. If you don't have green, we'll mix it. Mixing yellow and blue gives you green.
Yeah.
If your green looks too blue, you need to add more. You need to add blue. So this is the green I got by adding red, blue and yellow gives me this. I want to make it a little bit darker. So I want to add a dot of red to make it darker. Just a little dot, not too much, because you don't want to change it. You can also, instead of red, add a little bit of black. And with that green, I'm gonna start adding the trees. So the way I like to paint it to give it a little bit more texture is kind of painting each tree individually, we'll go back to it and add more shadow and highlights, but basically just lines going up. And now I will, as I go to my right, I'm gonna add more yellow so it looks lighter. At the back, you only see the tip of the tree, so just put brush strokes going up, fluffy brush strokes. We'll go back with a lighter color and it really will pop out. At the front, I made the lines larger. So just lines going up. If you need more time, take your time, but I wanna go to the next step before my green dries off. So I put a little bit of black in my palette and I grab a little bit of black, put it next to the green, and I don't put the black into my green. I put my black next to it and slowly grab green to add it because I want to keep this green the way it is. So I grab it and I put it into the black to give me a darker color. And with this darker color, I paint upwards, trying to cover like in between the spaces from my previous color. If you want, you can change to a smaller brush if that helps. So I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. You can use a flat one, but if you use it, you just put it up, not wide, but making a small thin line of that dark green. Try to put the most of the black more towards the left. Here you can put one or a few thin lines, but here is where it's the darkest. So you want to see the difference in between the two colors. You don't want to cover what you just did. I'm going to repeat that. I just took a little bit of black and put it next to my green. Then I was grabbing green little by little and put it into the black. Black is a very strong color that changes your color quickly. So be careful. And just lines upwards. At the front, they're long because we can see the full tree. You see how long my lines are? This long. And at the back, I'm gonna do the same, but just shorter lines. Not so organized. Perfect. So finish your dark green and then we're gonna do the light green on the trees. Perfect. Don't spend too much time making little details. When your eye captures the difference in colors, your brain usually picks it up without too much detail. Now we're gonna mix the lighter green. So if you still have a little bit of green, plain green, use that. You can wash your brush or just wipe the excess off. So to make this green lighter, I'm gonna add more yellow. I want quite a bit of yellow into my green. And I'm gonna show you this section slowly. So if my dark, sorry, let me just bring this over here. So I imagine the sun is coming from my left. So if the sun is coming from my left, it hits the light first, then the medium, and then the dark. So basically you're just putting it in front of your medium green or to the left of your medium green. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you get the idea. And for the light green, I'm gonna put more light on the right side. At the top, I just do the same, but smaller lines here and there. Little trees coming up here. Don't spend too much time. And so at the top, very little touches like this. Here too. And here at the bottom, I just make them a bit longer. And you can add a little bit of even more yellow and then do the same thing, but not covering the entire area you just drew.
Okay.
Now I added a little bit of white to my green, just a little bit. And this is the last color we're gonna use on our trees. So you can tell the difference. You see that I'm just barely touching the canvas, just a few highlights here and there. Especially at the top. Just adding more of that dark green between the spaces, but you look at your picture and Make sure you see the difference in between the three greens. And once you're done, you can wipe your brush and clean it in the water. The next thing we're going to do is going to be the mountains. We will add a little bit of that lighter color first, and then we're gonna go with the snow. With the snow, we'll do the same technique as we did with one of our paintings. I don't know if you remember this one. We will do the same thing. So with the snow, we will have light snow and darker snow. So the darker snow will go on the right side of each mountain because we'll imagine the sun is here. The light snow will go on the left side of each peak. So the first thing we'll be doing will be a lighter color, lighter brown. I'll just give you another minute to catch up and then we'll go ahead with the brown. If you're all caught up, you can start mixing your brown. Remember, brown is yellow, red, and blue. All three colors until you get brown. So let's get started with a little bit of a light brown. Doesn't have to be too much. It's just a little bit of a highlight. So again, I use blue, red, and yellow. So these three colors, red, yellow, and blue, mix them all together. That gives me a brown, and it's dark like last time. So I'm gonna add white. If you need to add again more yellow or more orange, that's fine. I'm just gonna test it against my previous color here to see. Yeah, I can see the difference. So I'm just gonna paint half of the mountain there. So I get the peak. You see what I'm doing? It's not a straight line. I start at the peak, I go left on the edge. And this is whatever you wanna make it. It's not straight, don't make a straight line.
So Anna, could you repeat the color you put on the mountain?
Yeah, it's red,
Red.
blue, and yellow. That gives me a brown, the first brown I used. So to make it lighter, I just added a little bit of white.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No worries. So it doesn't really matter what color you get as long as it looks like very similar to the first color you put here. And you just add white after you're happy with the brownish color you get. If you look at the color and it looks too blue or too red or too yellow, you just need to put the other two colors to balance.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I want you to notice that I'm painting only the left side, and I grab the edge of the mountain and then go down a little bit. In this middle mountains, I'm not going down too much because these mountains are in front, so you will get a lot of shadow here. But here, now they're flatter or more in a straight line. I can bring them down a little bit more. You see how that brings the mountains out quite a bit? And now, so now my brush is quite dry. I can bring it down a little bit more here. Just a little bit, so bring the valley down a little bit. Don't put too much. If you have a lot of paint on your brush, don't do this part yet. Make sure your brush is not too loaded. My brush is almost dry, and I'm adding just a little bit of highlights here, left to right, to show a little bit of a, I don't know, like a valley, left to right here, okay? And with a dry brush, almost dry. And once you're done with that, we'll clean our brush. And the next step, we're going to do the snow. We're going to start with the lighter snow, and we're gonna use a flat brush. So I'm gonna repeat the technique that I went over last time. I don't know if you remember when we did this mountain. the one with the pink tree. I grab my brush far all the way back and I put very little to almost no pressure at all. So this is the canvas. I just want to show you here. I put it kind of parallel to the canvas like this. And I drag the paint along. Let me just grab something else so I can show you. So this is my painting and it's if you were to look at it from the side here, I barely touch the canvas and I drag it along. Barely touch it with lots of paint on your brush. So we'll just grab white. So I have white on my brush, just white. So I barely touch it and I do half of it. You see how it leaves spaces? I want that. I want those spaces to show through.
Okay.
When my brush is loaded, I do the top, the peak, from center to the left. So I have less and less paint. I can go farther down and do a bit more detail down here. So again, I just grab white on my flat brush. I put it parallel to, not like here, not like I usually paint, but along my canvas. I grab it far back. So if you're having trouble, maybe you're grabbing your brush too close and you're putting too much pressure, grab your brush almost on the tip and gently touch. And once it's touching, you just move your hand towards the left. As I have less and less paint, I can do this section here at the bottom. Don't put too much. It's better to have less than too much paint on this section. very easy. Don't spend too much time or detail, because the more detail you put, it looks less realistic with the snow. I'm gonna put the camera closer so you can see. You can really see the spaces showing through in between my snow. That's what I want. And we did the left side of my mountains. The next step is going to be doing the right side. So I had my white and I add a little bit of blue and a little bit of red. You can take your time. I'm just gonna go ahead with the next step so my white doesn't dry off. So I wanna make a darker white. So I added a little bit of blue and a little bit of red. I'm gonna test it over here. Yeah, I think that's enough. When you're mixing the paint, for this case, make sure you are able to grab enough paint on the brush. It's nice and thick, that's easier. I do the same here thing. So just a little bit darker than the pure white. You can even add a drop of black to make it darker. And if you have your paint like mine here, so lots on the tip, it's easier. So with the darker snow, I can make a little bit of more indications here at the bottom. So we are doing the right side. Very little pressure. You can bring this further down. Sometimes when we look too close at only this area, we start to maybe paint too much because we want to make it perfect. But when we step back, our eye understands that it is snow on the mountains. But if I look too close at it, doesn't look like anything at all. So remember to take a second to step back and look at your painting. So again, I'm gonna repeat for the second step of the snow. I have my white. I add red and blue just a little bit to give it a blue-ish tint. And you can add a little bit of black, a drop, just to make it a dash darker. When you're grabbing the paint, grab it like this, scrub it off, and that way you get lots on the tip. And when I have lots of paint, I start at the top of the mountain where there's more snow, doing the peaks. As I have less and less, I'm gonna do the rest here at the bottom. Trying to imagine the peaks and valleys of the mountain. If you're having trouble with this, it's because you're putting too much pressure on the brush. Very light touches here and there. Okay. And this big mountain is in the shadow, so we can add the dark snow here, the one we're using right now. And now look back, take a step back, wipe your brush, see how your mountains look like. I'm gonna go back to the pure white just to fix this little peak here.
Chị
And if you're done, you can wipe your brushes. We are almost done. I want to do a little bit of reflection in the water. So if you're done, remove the excess and wash your brushes. There's some valley over here. If you are done, I'll give everyone 1 minute just to wrap up the mountains at the top, and then we'll start with the bottom. But if you're already done, we'll mix this blue again. And so you can start doing that. We mix this blue with blue, white, and yellow. The blue for the lake, and on it on the side, we'll just have a little bit of blue and black on the side. So let's start with that blue there, if you're ready. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do this line here to show you. So this mountain is in front of the other one, so we'll just, with the white you were using, we'll just make an indication there. This one is in front of the other ones. Really brings it out and makes more sense here to the eye. And then I think this one is in front of that one there. So I will just make a small line there. So these two, the other ones are more like straight in front. Okay. Now let's get, what did I tell you? The blue for the for the lake, we're gonna do that again. So blue, yellow, out of yellow, so these are the colors for my lake. White, blue, yellow.
White, blue, and yellow. That's what I thought. White, blue, yellow.
And on the side, I just have a little bit of black. So I'm gonna add a little bit of black. So I have made the color of the lake. I have black here, and I'm gonna add it just a little bit of black. I wanna have a darker color, but still my blue from the lake. This is the hardest part of the painting. So we're gonna make the reflections for the mountains. So basically, you wanna paint what's on top, you wanna paint it on the bottom, but flipped, of course. So let's start with the tip of the mountains here. This is just an indication. It doesn't have to be perfect. So now, so I paint the first one straight down here, and then I switch to my right, and this one is higher. So here I make it lower. I go to the next one, is in about the same place. And then the next one is just a bit lower. So I paint that area. Make sure.
blue 都歸出嚟啊，blue 嘛，黐線嘅咩？
Make sure you're able to see the difference in between the two colors. You don't want to make it exactly the same as your lake, because the eye is not going to see that reflection. We'll do this reflection and then we're done with our class. So I'm gonna repeat what we're doing right now. We have white, blue, and yellow, and we get the color of our lake. Once we're happy with the same color here, we add a little bit of black. And now this one, we will do the same one over here. And paint it. So once I have a darker lake color, I start drawing the same mountains that I have up, but I, of course, do it backwards, like in a mirror. So the eye captures that reflection. Oh, that's too late. You can look at your mountains, make sure, you see I'm missing this one here. So somewhere here. Then it's covered by this big one. Okay. And then we'll do a little bit of snow on reflected on the water, and we are done. So you can take your time doing this, but I don't want my blue to dry. So I think I actually ran out of blue. So I'm just grabbing the lake color. So if you run out, remember blue, yellow, white for our lake. So I have my lake color right here, and I'm going to add a lot of white. Actually, I'm just gonna grab white, put it, I put it over here, and I'm slowly adding my lake color. And I paint what I see up, but backwards. So I see a little bit of snow here, a little bit of snow here as well. It's mostly the tip that I'm doing mostly the right side of the mountains at the bottom. And now I'm gonna add, I'm gonna wipe my brush, and then I'll do the pure white. And that's it. Make sure you sign and date it.
Cái gì luôn, hết rồi.
And this is our painting.
This is like a masterpiece, Savannah,
Thank you, May.
to celebrate all the months of hard work on the art project.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you. This was actually the very first painting I did of the mountains, and I actually, it was the first painting I sold years
Oh,
ago. So it's very special in my heart.
Okay.
I put this tape here. I will have to go back and paint over it. So I have 4 of our last paintings on the same sheet.
What is the size of this sheet?
I believe it's the regular, I think it's US letter,
Oh, okay.
but it's a canvas pad. So it was,
Okay.
yeah, so I just got a canvas pad, and just because it's flexible, I'm able to fold it
Uh-huh.
and use one sheet for 4 paintings.
Painting.